underdogs who felt unappreciated, who needed some kind of sign that we could overcome whatever situation faced us and be more than we ever thought. It's been a great 6 or 8 weeks watching the Miami Heat and Florida Panthers. Let's give them a big shout out. So I want to share a few things before we welcome up Reverend Juan this morning. One of our big calendar events for every year, as we all know, is our Love and Light Gala. Now, we're working on the details for the event, but we did want to make sure that you save the date so you don't find yourself double booked. So here we go. Mark your calendars for Saturday, October 14th. And they'll be starting at 7:30 p.m. at Jungle Island, right here in Miami. They've done a great job for us in the last few years. And here's a little teaser. The theme this year has everything to do with chakras. Now, like I said, the details are coming together, so you know what I know, but mark your calendars. This great time will be had by all. Now, we have for those of you who didn't know, we have a live prayer circle every Wednesday. Every Wednesday, 12:30 Eastern Time. We host a Zoom prayer call, and it's a perfect time not only to submit whatever your prayer intentions are, but it helps create a well-needed pause in your week, just like the old hour sessions we used to have back on 21st Street. Nice way to recharge your batteries on the middle of the week. Great act of self-care. So details are on our website at www.unityonthebay.org. And last, but certainly not least, this is a reminder, as we'll find out later today, that our backpack drive is still going on. And you can help us maintain our standing as the largest such drive in South Florida by making a donation today. And Unity will match every donation up to $10,000. So your contribution will go that much further. So again, visit our website, unityonthebay.org, or you can visit our table in the back for more information. And with that in mind, we welcome our fearless leader. Come on up, Reverend Juan.
Thank you, Tony. I'm so glad that you got to spend some time with our Renaissance man, Tony. He knows sports, he knows music, he's a lawyer, he's on the platform team. What are you leading for me, Tony? What's my role here? Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers that are in the room or watching from home. Really great that we get to celebrate, I was going to say you, but celebrate us on Father's Day. Today we have a couple of special things planned, a special presentation during one of our songs. Our children are going to be coming in at the end of the service with a gift for all of the fathers. And we have Eduardo and Vanessa who are reading the daily word together. So it's going to be a really beautiful day of celebrating fathers and father figures together. So if this is your first or second time at Unity on the Bay, let me be one of the first people to welcome you and thank you for joining us. If you're in the room after the service, we'd love for you to pass by the welcome table. And if you're in the room or watching from home, you can also just follow the prompts on the screen so that we get to know you a little bit more, answer any questions that you may have, and just connect. So we'd really love for you to do that. And Unity on the Bay, as I said a couple of weeks ago, I just said, let me be the first or second, let me be one of the first people to welcome you to Unity on the Bay, to our first and second timers. Unity on the Bay, let me not be the last. So make sure that you all connect and that you celebrate who we are as a community together, because we are a pretty great community, are we not? Yes. So I know that's the way to get people to clap. Just we're great, right? You're all wonderful, right? You're amazing, right? But believe me, it's not just us in this room or watching from home that know this. So many people know this. One of the individuals, actually, you'll probably recognize, some of you will recognize him, Ray Melton, who's part of our music ministry, was so touched by who we are as a spiritual community that he left all of us a review online. And this is what his review said. Unity is a beautiful, loving community. Yes? Yes. You are sure to find a connection there. Yes? No judgments, just love expressed in all of its diverse forms. Yes. Beautiful, beautiful reminder of the power that we have, not only individually, but when we come together in community. And it is so great to feel and know and sense your presence. You're already a blessing to all those that are part of Unity on the Bay. So today's service, like I said, we're going to be celebrating fathers, but we also want to take time to acknowledge that tomorrow is Juneteenth. And so we're going to be celebrating that also, and we invite you to celebrate Juneteenth, which really commemorates the emancipation of enslaved African Americans here in the United States. And as we honor that day, I really invite us all to not only be really grateful and feel the blessings of the freedoms that we have, but also recognize the ways in which we can support those freedoms from reaching more individuals in a more equal and equitable way. And so that's a little reminder for us as we celebrate it tomorrow. And with that, I'm going to invite us to go within as we move into the rest of our service, to do so by acknowledging the connection, the closeness that we have with God, with Spirit. And so I invite us to take a deep breath together. I invite us to recognize the presence of God that is here right now, expressing itself in us and as us. It is a presence of love and light. It is a presence of power and strength. It is the presence of community and connection. And so as we feel into this energy, we take a moment to be in gratitude. Gratitude, give thanksgiving for the many miracles that have already taken place in our lives, and be in gratitude for the trust and the faith that more miracles are on their way, for we know that life is a blessing. We know that as we connect with that God of our very being, we feel and sense more of these blessings. We give life to the very activity of God in our lives and in the lives of others. And so here and now we give thanks for wholeness. We give thanks for abundance. We give thanks for truth. We give thanks for wisdom. We give thanks for love. We give thanks for all the things that God is and all the things that God is through and as us. And together we not only honor this truth and we honor these principles and we honor who we are when we come together, we honor the very presence of God that is moving through the world right here and right now, lifting up humanity to remember that we are all so very blessed and we are all so very much a blessing. Giving thanks for this time, giving thanks for each other, giving thanks for this moment and clarity, we say, thank you, God, so it is. And the people say, amen. Let's have a wonderful Sunday experience.
Thank you, Reverend Juan. Good morning, Unity on the Bay. Let's welcome back to the house, the one and only Nicole Yarling.
Happy Juneteenth, happy Father's Day.
Work each day, stays out all day long. He comes home at night, looking tired and weak. Sits down at the dinner table and has a bite to eat. Never a frown, always a smile when he says to me, how is my child? Say, I've been studying hard all day in school, trying very hard to understand the golden rule. I think I'll color this man father. I think I'll color him love. Said I'm gonna color him father. I think I'll color this man love. Yes, I will. He says education is a thing if you wanna compete, but without a child, life ain't very sweet. I love this man and I don't know why, except I'll need his strength till the day that I die. My mother loves him, and I can tell by the way he looks at him when he holds my little sister Nell. I heard him say just if it hadn't been for him, she wouldn't have found a way. I think I'll call this man Father. I think I'll cover him love. I'm gonna cover him Father. I think I'll cover this man love. Our real old man, he got killed in the war, and she knew with 7 children she wouldn't get very far. She said she thought she could never love again, and there he stood with that big wide grin. He married my mother, he took a sin, and now we belong with a man with the big wide grin. I think I'll cover this man Father. I think I'll cover him love. I'm gonna cover him Father. I think I'll cover this man love. He's so good to me. I wanna cover him love. I think I'll cover him Father. I think I'll cover this man love. He's so good to you. He's so good to me. Yeah. I think I'll cover him Father. I think I'll cover this man love.
Good morning, Unity on the Bay. My name is Eduardo Sama. This is my daughter Vanessa, and we are honored to represent the Youth and Family Ministry. Today, daily word is blessing for fathers, and we affirm, I bless my father and the men who have shown me fatherly kindness. And our message reads, today I bless and give heartfelt thanks to my father and the men who were fatherly figures to me. Their protecting presence, wise guidance, and caring instruction have helped make me the person that I am today. I bless my father and those who shared a father's love and care with prayers of appreciation for my memories throughout all the seasons of my life. Through good times and bad, I see God expressing through my father and the men who have shown me fatherly love. I bless them with prayers of gratitude, affirming they know the love and care of God as they have shown so generously and faithfully to me. Today's daily word is inspired by Ephesians 6, verse 4. And fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. Thank you. Happy Father's Day.
It's time to get ready for meditation. Please silence your phones. Sit in a comfortable posture and remember to take deep breaths from time to time. We'll begin our meditation experience with a song.
Make me a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. Where there is injury, your pardon, Lord. And where there's doubt, true faith in you.
And so I invite you, if you haven't done so already, to gently close your eyes. This is a gift that you are giving yourself. To pause, to sit with, and to allow yourself to feel and sense the presence of God within you and as you. And so let us join together and breathe into this space. And with every breath, we continue to move deeper and deeper into that inner sanctuary of our being. That place within us where we know that we know that we know God is. And we are one with this presence. And God is expressing in us through our own Christ nature. Our own divinity. And so as we come deeper into this space within us, we feel just how open and receptive our hearts are to experiencing the love that is God. We sense how ready and willing we are to experience the peace that God is. We affirm that this love and this peace, it is our truth. It is the reality of our very being and our oneness with God. As we are willing to be channels of this love and comfort and peace and grace, we first feel it within ourselves, sense it throughout our very being, throughout our bodies, within our hearts, within our thoughts. It is our truth. God and we are one. And so this moment and this experience is sacred and holy. Join me in taking another breath. as we more fully embody all that we already know God is in us. We release and we let go. Anything that has kept us in bondage in the past, any judgments or sense of being limited, we not only surrender them in this moment, but we feel as we become lighter. We feel as we become more aware of our wholeness. And we know that it is God through us, in us, and as us. Feel the fullness of this moment. Feel the fullness of God. And let us experience more of who and what we are. Let us experience our relationship with the divine in deep and intimate ways. As we take some time in the silence to simply be in relationship with all that is good. And now, bring your attention to the gratitude that is within you. Grateful for this moment. Grateful for the clarity. Grateful for the understanding that we and God are one. And so we say, thank you. Thank you, sweet Spirit. Amen and amen.
There's a train a-coming somewhere down the track. The people that ain't ready better step in back. This train has been running since time began. It's running on the love of your fellow man. So people get ready. There's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on. All you need is faith to hear the diesels are humming. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. Walk with me, I'll walk with you. Down these troubled roads we stumble into. We're all in this thing together. We're gonna make it through. If you walk with me, I'll walk with you. Be there for me, I'll be there for you. When we're running out of hope, when we don't know what to do, like a candle in the darkness, shining bright and true. Be there for me, I'll be there for you. Oh, it's gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be alright. 'Cause you and me got better days coming. Everything gonna be alright. Walk with me, I'll walk with you. I know the rain of the day, when tomorrow is blue. When we can't see where we're going, when the world is coming to. Walk with me, and I'll walk. Come on and walk with me. Hey, walk with me. Won't you walk with me? Walk with you. Hey, people get ready. There's a train coming. You don't need no baggage. You just get on board. All you need is faith. Hear the beat. You don't need no ticket. You just thank the Lord. Hey, yeah. Walk with me. Walk with me. And I will walk with you. And I will walk with you. Come on and walk with me. Walk with me. Come on, walk with me. And I will walk with you. Hey, ha, come on and walk with me. Oh, yeah. And I will walk with you. Oh, come on, come on, come on, walk with me. Walk with me. Hey, yeah. And I will walk with you.
Thank you to Nicole Yarling, our music ministry, for all of you who sent in pictures of you as a father or you with your fathers. It's really great to be able to experience that part of us, right? It's great to really be able to see those pictures and get a glimpse of some of the families that we've all belonged to, and that truly are the families that we're all here expressing. So today is my day, and I don't mean that just because it's Father's Day. I mean, it is Father's Day, and that's why I'm saying it, but not because I'm a father, but it's because I get to make the dad joke of my liking without any judgments, without any fear, without, oh, I already see some judging faces looking back at me. So a father and a son, decided the son seemed a little lost, and so the father decided to take him for a little walk. It's an older son, about to go off into the world, and the father just looks at the son and says, "So, what are you going to do with your life?" And the son says, "Well, I'm on this spiritual path, so I meditate several times a day, and I'll continue to be on my spiritual path and meditate quite a few times a day as I continue on." And the dad's like shaking his head. Okay, but how do you plan to put a roof over your head? And the son says, "Well, I will meditate several times a day, and God will provide." How are you going to buy all the things that you say you want to buy for yourself. I will meditate several times a day, and God will provide. How are you going to take care of your family, the family you say you want, the kids that you say you want? Dad, I said, I will meditate several times a day, and God will provide. After the walk, the dad goes back home, and the mom's like, well, how did it go? The dad says, well, our kid has no job, no money, and no plans for the future, but the good news is that he's starting to call me God. Somebody get on those drums and beat them for me, please. Come on. All right. So I remember, and actually, if I'm not mistaken, it was here at Unity on the Bay, hearing that it's so much easier to become a father than to be a father. And I think that's true in a lot of things. You know, we fall into certain things, and getting to a certain place, you know, it can be the easier part, and then really embodying what it means can be what is challenging. As somebody who, you know, many of you know, I adopted my son. He was just a couple of days old. It was a lengthy adoption process. It took a lot of steps, and a lot of things had to like fall in place. And even with all that stuff, I know it was so much easier to become a dad than to really step into being a dad. And so I sit with what it means to be a father, you know, and what it means to be a parent for Lucas, and thinking about the physical needs that have to be met, the emotional needs that have to be met, and the spiritual needs that have to be met. I really recognize that it's a work in progress. Right? Like, it's a work in progress, and it is something that I continue to evolve into, and it is something that I believe all of us, fathers, mothers, parents, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, grandparents, that we're all sort of growing into it, and we're all continuing to evolve what we believe it means to be just that, and to show up for other people from that space. And as I move through my own journey, man, has it given me a greater sense of empathy for my own father and the relationship that we had, and how I may have judged it, may have experienced it, and now I can see it maybe in a different light as a result of just recognizing that as we put labels on ourselves, we're all evolving into what those labels mean, and we are redefining what those labels mean. And I want to share with you a little bit more about God as the Father. Now, first, I want to share with you, I get it, we are unity. So we're not here necessarily to give a human form to God and our relationship with God. And I believe that we can glean some stuff from the ways in which we relate to our understanding of God, and that there is power in seeing how that presence and that essence that we call God, that divinity that is around us and in us and as us, how it can play the role of a father figure, a redefined maybe role of a father figure in our lives. Now, I understand that many of us have different histories with our own fathers, different histories with an old understanding of this paternal God of traditional Christianity and traditional religion. And so I get that some of us may feel a little apprehension about seeing God as Father. I also recognize that some of us, because of our history and because of our old ways of understanding God, may actually welcome and be comforted by the understanding of God as the Father. Wherever you're at in this relationship, I really just invite us to recognize and consider the ways in which this energy and consciousness and the divinity of our very being has a relationship with us, or we have a relationship with it that can really be supported by looking at it from the lens of today, God as Father. Now, Jesus, our master teacher, called God Father. A couple of times he also called God Abba, which is an even more endearing, but also a much more, I will follow you and I will do what it is that you are asking me to do type of looking at that father figure. Throughout that relationship, though, what to me is very clear is that that Jesus had a very intimate relationship with God. It was a very intimate relationship. And it was an intimate relationship with the divine that he invited us into, because as Jesus started teaching the people around him about how to pray, for example, he said, begin with our Father, the connection that we have with this source. Now, in Practical Christianity and Unity, when we do say Father, we're not necessarily thinking in terms of God as being male in the physical sense, but we do look at some of the energies that could represent, like sort of like the beingness, the overall energy of protection and feeling protected, being provided for, being given that which we want, that which we need, that which can support us as we continue to evolve and as we continue to create the life of our dreams. Now, Eric Butterworth goes on even further to then saying, it's not that male figure. He also shares it's not a figure outside of us. He says the Father does not represent God as a being out there. Instead, he represents the Christ of you, your own permanent identity. And we are reminded, the Father who art in heaven, the Father who's in heaven. Well, where is heaven? In Unity, we understand that heaven is a place of consciousness. Heaven is something that is going on within us. And so more and more, we are invited to recognize that this presence is our own divine nature. It is within us, and it is something that we not only can have an intimate relationship with, but it is that place within us that we lean on and we allow to surface through us to be able to live in that consciousness of heaven, to be able to create the dreams that we aspire to create the visions that we want to see, not only for ourselves, but for each other and for the world. And I look at my own evolution in fatherhood, right? Because when I started off, it was, I'm the son, and my father's my father. And it was something outside of me. And it was something that I looked outside of me for in how I was being supported. And now, being the father that I am, I realize, oh, wait, that's my job. That's me. That's how I am asked to show up for myself, for my son, for the truth of my being. And so the same way, in a spiritual sense, we have in the past, some of us, really looked outside of ourselves as the place of God. And now we get invited to recognize it's in us. It is as us. And this is the way in which we are continuing to deepen our understanding, not only of God, but then our relationship with God. Now, how can we have a more intimate relationship then with that God of our being? I realize, through my own relationship with my father, right? Like, relationship takes work. How many of you have had intimate relationships? How many of you know it takes work? The same thing happened at the earlier service. More people raised their hand about how hard work is needed than when I first asked about the intimate relationships, because it does take work. It takes time. It takes intention. And it takes an understanding that in this relationship, not only can we lean on it, but that we need to come to it in a healthy way. We need to come to that relationship in a way that is also welcoming and open to the divine that is within us. Be able to see the divine for what it is, just the same way that we want other people to see us and to welcome us for who we are. Now, what is the ways in which we can have the more intimate relationship with the divine? Christine Kane, a Christian writer, said, "We were never created to settle for mere religion. Just as Jesus did not live so that we could have a religious belief system, but rather a life-giving relationship with our Father." And I ask, what is your relationship to the divine as the Father? And is there something in that relationship that is inviting you to become more intimate with it, to heal into it, and to allow it to be manifested more fully, to be supported by it? When I think of intimate relationships and who are the people that I consider myself to be in intimate relationships with, it's the people that I feel safe with. It's the people that I don't need to pretend to be anybody else than who I am. And They'll try not to judge me around it, right? It's the people that I know I can reach out to when I'm in need, when I need help, when I just need somebody to listen, when I need somebody to not only listen, but to guide me in a place, right? Guide me to something else, or remind me about who I am, and also invite me into different ways of being, and remind me about the ways that I really want to show up in the world. And I believe that God is that intimate relationship that provides all of these things, and maybe we haven't put as much time into that relationship than we've done with the external relationships in our lives. And even if we have put a lot of time and effort into it, I believe that there's an opportunity to continue to go deeper and deeper and deeper. For me, the relationship with God is, as the Father, is a relationship with that sense of knowing that with trust and with faith, I know things will work out. Because I am protected, I am lifted up, I am comforted. You know, the idea or the definition of what a father is or should be has really changed over time, right? You know, if you think about it back a couple of generations, what a father figure was supposed to be is like that strong man, and, you know, like that hard person that you can just count on and will protect you. And as we've continued to evolve, and as our consciousness has evolved, it's invited us to redefine what these labels mean. And so the fathers of today aren't necessarily the fathers of a couple of generations ago, in the sense that we recognize that it's not only those quote unquote masculine energies, male attributes, but that we are the whole person. And so we as fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, whatever it is, we not only get invited to be that power, that strength, that wisdom, that leader that is moving us, but we also get to be sensitive. We also get to be vulnerable, emotional. We get to follow intuition. We get to really be a place of comfort. And these traits are not necessarily only for men or fathers. It's in all of us, and it's available to all of us so that we can, within our own divine nature, seek that which is looking to be expressed into the world and into whatever situation that we may be going through. How are you leaning on that relationship? How are we leaning on God as that father figure? I love one of my favorite lines of the Gospel of John. It says, "The Father is in me, and I am in the Father." That's how deep and intimate a connection it is. That's how deep a relationship it is. The Father is in me, and I am in the Father. And so we know where to go when we need to lean on our own Christhood. That place of heaven, that place that is inward, that place that is our truth. And I get it. Sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't. Right? Like, just because we know that there is something that we can lean on doesn't mean that we always lean on it. You know, we get caught up in a lot of different things, and sometimes we don't go to that place for inspiration, for trust, with our faith, and with even the questions that we may have about how to show up and be in the world. And how can we continue to build a relationship so it becomes second nature? You know, it's like when you first have a friend, you're starting to become friends with somebody, and you call them up every so often, right? But the more it becomes a more intimate relationship, the more that you recognize the closeness that is light-filled and is true, is the reality of our being. Now, the whole verse that I shared from John, it's actually John chapter 10, verse 37 through 38. It says, "If I am not doing the works of my Father, then do not believe me. But if I do them, even though you do not believe me, believe the works, so that you may know and understand that the Father is in me, and I am in the Father." What that tells me is that, one, first and foremost, seek ye the kingdom, right? Seek that energy, that source, seek that relationship, that intimate relationship with the divine, and act from that place. Whether it's you're in question, whether you are having a difficulty, whether you're going to the grocery store, whether you're greeting somebody here at Unity on the Bay, can we act from the place of our Christhood? Can we move into the world from the place of that intimate relationship we have with the divine and be about our Father's business? you know? And the Father's business to me is to really step into our full potential. Because the moment that we step into our full potential, which is our full Christhood, is the moment that not only do we do it spiritually, but it then becomes manifested in the world, in the material world. And that is how we all of a sudden find the dreams that we've been dreaming of, find the courage and the strength to seek out that which has been inspired in us. That is how we truly allow ourselves to be an extension of the love, the light, the joy, the grace that we believe God to be. Buddha says, all know the way, but very few actually walk it. Been there. And I'm glad that we're walking this path together. And I'm glad that we are reminding each other to walk the path that we already know has been implanted in us. And so how can we have that closer walk with the divine? How can we have that closer walk with God? For me, you know, I was thinking, well, I'll just tell you, pray and meditate. Done. Right? It's one of our principles. It's what, you know, and there's power in that. And with any intimate relationship, I think that it's not just about the quality time and just spending time with each other, but that there's work to do, right? Like my relationship with my father is as good as it is. One, because I grew up and got a little bit more empathy in me, but also because I did some of the work. I was like looking through past Sunday talks from Father's Day, and there were quite a few of them that was talking about some of the forgiveness. One year it said how I was going to be doing a lot more forgiveness work, and the following year I was like, ooh, I think I did the forgiveness work that was needed, you know? But how about we go into our time of meditations with that idea? Like, so asking ourselves, in this time of meditation, not only can I just simply be, but is there anything that I can bring to it that will bring a greater sense of intimacy? A deepening of the relationship. And so, yes, spending the quality time, but is there forgiveness work to be done? How many of us have put a lot of expectations on God and been upset when God didn't live up to those expectations? How many of us have been upset with God, angry with God? How many of us have thought that God didn't show up the way that God needed to show up for us? And so we carry that, right? And we may be coming into a different understanding and evolving into a different way of seeing God, and some of that stuff is still within us. So what if we do some forgiveness work and meditations on forgiveness about our relationship with the divine, and even about the way that we showed up for God or as God or whatever that may be, but to really do the work. In all of our relationships, we got to do the work. Why not do it with the relationship we have, the most important relationship we have, which is with the God of our being, our own inner higher self? Now take a breath with me right now. The Father is in me, and I am in the Father. Take another breath. You don't even have to close your eyes. God is in me, and I am in God. God is in you, and you are in God. Now, I just mentioned, you know, having a practice that brings us into that intimate relationship, but even just these moments that we did what we just did, that in itself is creating intimacy. That in itself is creating a deeper sense of trust and faith and connectedness, or understanding and awareness and mindfulness of our union with the divine. I love that last week Rabbi Amy talked about that holy pause. And she shared that it was a holy pause by bringing gratitude into that moment. Anytime that we remember our truth, anytime that we remember the truth of God, our relationship with God as our Father, as our Mother, as the essence of who we are, anytime we do that, that is a holy pause. And the more that we take holy pauses, the more it will become second nature. And the more we won't have to remind ourselves, because it's just simply a way of being. God is in me, and I am in God, as we seek first the kingdom and remember that the presence of God is in us, and we've got to seek an understanding of it. And we've got to do the work to be able to really trust and have faith in it. Our destiny, And that is what we are continuing to evolve into in this relationship and in our definition of who we are together. Myrtle Fillmore says, you and our co-founder, you and I, the offspring of God mind, have the wonderful privilege of forming our lives of God's substance, of instilling into our soul and body consciousness the intelligence and energy of the Father, and shaping our destinies as we will. Take a moment not only to recognize the intimate relationship that God is seeking to have with each of us, but the destiny that we want to experience in life. When those two things come together, our visions become a reality. Who we are is an expression of the divine, and people see it, feel it, and know it, and are inspired by it. And more importantly, we get to be anchored in our truth. And that anchoring will support us in whatever is taking place in our lives. God is in me, and I am in God. Let that be our mantra today, throughout the week, and as we move into whatever lies ahead. Happy Father's Day and Namaste.
Little quick piece of music history for you, as Juan alluded to earlier. That song came out in 1969. I was in 6th grade in North Carolina, so you know I'm aging myself. There was a group called the Winstons, based out of D.C. It was the only hit that they ever had, but it was enough to win a Grammy for Best R&B for 1969. In a just world, that song would be as much of a staple for Father's Day as Monster Mash is for Halloween. But we can do something about that, right? So thank you, Dale, Nicole, thank you for bringing that to us today. Now, we believe here at Unity in the spiritual law of giving, and now is your opportunity to give in gratitude. So we encourage you to go green by texting GIVE to 1-833-245-5645, and that number and that information should also be on the screen behind you. And if you need an envelope, you see we've got ushers coming out, just keep your hand up, and they'll be glad to get you squared away. While they do that, let's take a few moments in silence to prepare your gifts. All right, so we bless our gifts together. Divine love, that I am, blesses all that I give and all that I receive. All right. And now for the man who puts more stretch marks on my scalp than anybody here in this congregation, Reverend Juan.
I have no idea what that meant.
Thanks for the shout out this morning, but you don't have to worry about me upstaging you. I may be a jack of several trades. You're a master of the big one.
We do well together.
We do.
All right, and so let us have some of the children that are part of our Kids Zone come up here. And once again, the microphone. All right. Oh my gosh. It's an ice cream and it says, Dad, you're the coolest. Thank you. Okay, beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much. So we're going to take, before you do anything, we're going to take a moment, all of us here, we're going to take a moment to bless you. And so Unity on the Bay, as we see some of these kids from our Kids Zone here with us today, and we know that they are already blessing us, let's bless them. Children, we love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. We behold the Christ in you, and we see you doing great things. And so who shall we ask over here? You want to say something about your dad? What do you love about your dad?
I love him in every way.
Oh. Who's that? Who's the dad? Oh, very nice. What about your dad?
I really like how he's really supporting and positive when times are tough.
Nice.
I love my dad, even though he's angry at me.
So regardless, we always love. Come here. I appreciate you, and I'm so glad that you're here. And I want you to know how much all of us appreciate and love you here. Oh, and you look great in those backpacks. So these are some of the backpacks that we'll be getting for Angels Everywhere. So make sure that you support our Angels Everywhere backpack drive so that more and more kids, actually about 6,000 of them, can be wearing them at the end of this summer. Now with that, the kids have some really great little gifts for the fathers in the room. So if you are a father, grandfather, whatever it is, a father figure, raise your hand, and they've got a really cool sticker that says, "You're awesome, Dad," so that you can wear it proudly. So keep your hands raised as they're coming up. They're huddling for a second. They're unionizing, actually, so give them a moment. All right, so keep your hands up, and while we do that, Tony, you'll invite, well, I'm taking it over, right?
More or less. But I got it covered. Prayer chaplains. We do have a few of them present, and they are coming forward. If you are in need of a prayer this morning, won't be any problem finding somebody, and right after we end, and they'll be glad to work with you. So, Reverend Juan, what action are we taking this coming week?
So as I mentioned at the end of the talk, I really invite you to use the mantra, God is in me and I am in God, and begin to feel even more intimacy in the relationship that you have with the divine. With that, I'm going to invite you to stand so that we can affirm our prayer for protection, and we'll follow that with our peace song. Together, the light of God surrounds us. We are light. The love of God enfolds us. We are love. The power of God protects us. We are power. The presence of God watches over us. We are presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. We are divine.